That's connected. Wonderful. Good morning, everybody. Hope you are doing well today. Oh, and someone else is getting in on the fun. Hi, Kiwi. Wonderful. Oh, you have something to say to everybody, Kiwi? Do you have something to say to everybody, little Kiwi? Really? Hi. You're all right. You're all right. No, stay off my arm. Hope everyone is doing well. It is Thursday. Kind of gray, dreary Thursday, but seems like it'll be the last really kind of warm day we'll have for a while. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I want to look at Brandon. Maybe we're going to look at Brandon. Maybe we won't have weather. Let's try refreshing the page. Well, this is fun. Well, let's try this again. Hey, there we go. Now we're getting something. All right, there we go. Okay. It is currently 45 degrees in the great metropolis of Brandon, Iowa. Feels like 35, and since it's not sunny, that's the same whether you're in the shade or not. Current air quality is excellent. Continued rain and possible thunderstorms, high of 65 today. Tomorrow in the 40s, Saturday in the 40s. Sunday also in the 40s with some rain. And we got some lows below freezing, so be aware of that as we get into the beginning of the summer. Come on, scroll down. Thank you. And looking ahead at next week, we do have a day in the 30s, and a couple days in the 30s, looks like. So, it's going to be a fun one, let me tell you what. Get back to me, please. There we go. So hopefully you are all having a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm going to bust out our devotional. Just a reminder, for those of you just joining us, we are revisiting the devotional written by Adam Hamilton, Living Unafraid. On a cold, dreary day, sometimes a cup of coffee is the best thing in the world. Anyway, this is day 12, Missing Out. Solomon finished the temple in all its details and measurements in the 11th year during the 8th month, the month of Bull. He built it in 7 years. Now, as for Solomon's palace, it took 13 years for him to complete its construction. As his reign came to a close, King David appointed his son Solomon to rule as his successor. David had been known for his prowess as a warrior, as well as for his psalms. Solomon was known for his wisdom, but as he amassed more power, he became known for his voracious appetite for more. It was left to Solomon to build the temple that David had hoped to build as a representation of God's earthly dwelling place among the people. David provided the plans and many of the resources for this magnificent structure. Solomon conscripted the workers and made arrangements for its timbers and stone. But after God's palace, the temple, was completed, the writer of 1 Kings offers a subtle clue that Solomon was not as wise as he seemed. Solomon completed the Lord's temple in 7 years, but it took 13 years to complete the construction of his own palace. If the length of time the construction required was any indication, Solomon's palace was the more palatial of the two. The writer of First Kings goes on to tell us that Solomon amassed huge quantities of gold, along with 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horses. And when it came to wives, Solomon had many hundreds. Who could possibly need 1,400 chariots and 1,000 wives and concubines? What was up with Solomon? In 2004, a name was given to this condition: FOMO, the fear of missing out. Fear of missing out is the motivation behind most midlife crises and the impulse that keeps us constantly checking our cell phones and social media. It's not just King Solomon who struggled with FOMO. It is a common fear many of us wrestle with. Throughout most of the Bible's history, the book Ecclesiastes was thought to have been written by Solomon, though this identification is questioned by some scholars today. Whoever wrote Ecclesiastes definitely wrestled with FOMO. The author writes as an old man looking over his life, describing his long quest for material satisfaction. I acquired male servants and female servants. I also had great herds of cattle and sheep, more than any who preceded me in Jerusalem. I amassed silver and gold for myself, the treasures of kings and provinces. I acquired male and female singers for myself, along with every human luxury, treasure chests galore. So I became far greater than all who preceded me in Jerusalem. I refrained from nothing that my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. Yet for all he acquired, the writer of Ecclesiastes remained unsatisfied. His constant refrain in the book is meaningless. All is meaningless. A chasing after the wind. This points to a truth philosophers throughout history have recognized. The more we focus on satisfying our desire for pleasure, the less satisfied we become. Psychologists refer to this as hedonic adaptation. Jesus challenged FOMO and its assumption that more plus better equals happiness. On many occasions, one thing he said that I've memorized and that I recite when I feel the urge to buy a new camera, watch, gadget, item of clothing, car, or something are these words: watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. How do we overcome FOMO and our constant desire for more? We cultivate and express gratitude for what we have. We nurture a heart and habit of generosity toward God and others. And we retrain our minds to understand that life is not found in an abundance of possessions. I prepared the following prayer for a little book on finances I wrote several years ago. We gave it out as a prayer to our members on a keychain tag and invited them to pray this prayer before they went shopping. I invite you to pray it aloud, focusing on each word. And we will do that shortly. When I hear about the extravagances of King Solomon, I am reminded of the Disney animated movie Aladdin and the arrival of Prince Ali Alibaba to the town of Agrabah. And so as Ali approaches the city to court the great Princess Jasmine, the genie had granted Aladdin his wish to become this prince, and makes the comment that a mere prince isn't enough. They're going to turn him into a superstar. And so what happens is a parody of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade plays. And Robin Williams, character the genie, sings a song about how magnificent Prince Ali is. And one of the lines that I always kind of get a chuckle at: he's got 75 golden camels, purple peacocks, he's got 53. When it comes to exotic type mammals, boy, I'm telling you, has he got a zoo? It's a world-class menagerie. Basically implying that Prince Ali is so well off because he has all of this stuff. He has 53 peacocks. He has all these golden camels. Like Adam Hamilton says about Solomon, what do you need thousands of chariots for? And they're not referring to his army was 1,000 chariots. That is Solomon's personal supply. it would be equivalent to one of us having thousands of cars. And there are some people, yes, who do collect cars. But thousands? And hundreds of wives and concubines. I know some of the husbands watching this are thinking, one is too much. I can say that because I'm single. But to imagine that level of extravagance, it's an extreme case of FOMO, of the fear of missing out. So what are we missing out? Each of us struggles with FOMO at one time or another. You know, the grass is always greener. We always try to keep up with the Joneses. They always have the best stuff. And the problem with that mentality is we're not feeding what actually is crying out to be fed. We're trying to stuff every material possession we can think of down inside, and it just doesn't work. There's a line in an old classic Star Trek episode when Spock refuses to take this woman as his wife, even though he has desired her for quite a while. And the man that will become her husband asks him why. And Spock says that having is not so pleasing a thing as wanting. It is not logical, but is often true. How many times have we got that new exciting thing, and then just a little while later it just kind of disappears? The excitement is gone. And then we try to reclaim that excitement and reclaim that excitement. It becomes like a drug. And each time that excitement lasts a little less, is a little less intense, because we're not feeding the part of our life we should be feeding. Social media does this. We have like spikes, instant gratification, things that say, oh yes, I'm popular. It's right down to that old junior high school kind of mentality that, oh, we're liked. You like me. You really, really like me. But then that fades, and we want it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. But we're not feeding the part of our soul that needs to be fed. Like Jesus said, happiness does not come from possessions. What if that hole that we're constantly feeling, we could fill it with God, with that relationship? It's ever sustaining, ever present, with us always. So maybe the real thing that we're missing out on is a deeper relationship with Him. As we have our prayers today, I ask that you continue to keep Don and Phyllis Haish in your prayers. Don went in for surgery this morning at 7. I have not yet heard how he is doing. But it was kind of a scary time. So please continue your prayers for them, for healing for Don, and support for Phyllis as they're going through this difficult time, this frightening time. They need all the prayers they can get. I also want to pray for those. I saw a news report today that unpastorly language, insert here, virus is starting to spike to the point where now the White House is beginning to recommend not meeting in any kind of social circumstances for certain areas of the country. And there are some counties of Iowa that are in that grouping. So I do want to continued prayers for those being affected by this expletive virus. Whether being infected, having loved ones that are infected, dealing with loss of loved ones due to it, working in the medical field, trying to fight it. We're all affected in some way or another, and we all could use the prayers in our own ways. As for other announcements, the last Sunday's 4 or 5 days ago, whatever, how many days it is, service will be posted, hopefully by the end of the day today. I apologize, it's taken a bit longer. The first 2 days of the week, I had the Orders and Fellowship event, and that took a chunk out, but I also have... It's come to my attention that we've been having more format issues with DVDs, so I got a new software for burning the DVDs, and the first DVD I tested, it worked all right. The second DVD would not work at all. So I did some Google and updated my editing software to a kind of an advanced version, we'll just say that, where I'm able to burn a DVD right from the editing software, and that worked better than any DVD I've ever burned. So hopefully I have it fixed. But so those again will be coming out. The thing is, with the new editing software, I have to kind of relearn. It's similar to iMovie, but it is different enough that I kind of have to, all my shortcuts, I have to kind of rethink a little bit. But so those should be up at the end of the day. The brunt of the editing is done. I just have to adjust some sound levels to help with the congregation responses and stuff. Other than that, again, I ask, please keep Dawn and Phyllis in your prayers. And now I will offer this prayer from the end of the chapter. Lord, help me to be grateful for what I have, to remember that I don't need most of what I want, and that joy is found in simplicity and generosity. Amen. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Try to stay dry if you can. And there went my iPad. Oh. There we go. Try to stay dry. Enjoy what might be the last warm day of the season before the evils of winter come. So have a good